There are three other sequence editing tools that you will use with some degree of frequency. They're called the Slip, Slide, and Razor tool, also called the Cut tool. We'll use all three of those tools in this project. So go over to Working Files, open up the Projects folder, and open up 0604 Slip Slide. I did some of the heavy lifting in this one. I already created the sequence and did some trimming for you. I have the bikes here. I've got the low angle shot, and I'm coming into the frame, going out of the frame, going to the next shot. Got them kind of going off in the distance here, and then going to this point of view shot, going off in the distance shot, and then this point of view along the side of the bank, and moving the camera off to the left. So the first order of business is to cut away some extraneous stuff. We'll use the Razor tool for that. Now you can find the tools over here in the Tools panel. Here's the Selection tool, the Ripple Edit tool, and the Rolling Edit tool. This is the Track Select tool, and you click on that, that'll select an entire track after the point where you've clicked. So if you click here, it'll select all the clips to the right there. That's how that works. This is the Pen tool, which you use with this little rubber band here. It's the Hand tool that works kind of like this thing down here. Hand tool lets you slide things back and forth there. And this little Zoom tool lets you zoom in as if you're pressing the plus key on your keyboard. Hold on the Alt or the Option key, it becomes the minus key, basically the same thing. Okay, let's go back here and look at the tools. We'll go back to the Selection tool, which is the default tool. We want to use the Cut, Slip, and Slide. Now, for the life of me, I can't remember the keyboard shortcuts for Slip and Slide, but I can sure as heck remember the Razor tool because it's C for Cut. If I hover my cursor over the Razor tool, there it is, it says C for Cut. So I use the Razor tool enough that I remember C, but I don't remember U and Y, right? There's Y for Slip and U for Slide. But I do remember C. So I'm going to press the C key now to switch to the Razor tool. There you go. Now you can see the Razor tool has got a little no symbol through it, meaning nothing to cut here, folks. But when you hover over a clip, there definitely is something to cut. I'm just going to click away here just to deselect these guys, right? Well, that won't work because it's not a selection tool. If I go back to the Selection tool, now I can deselect all those guys. So go back to C, cut our Razor tool. Now when I hover over a clip, though, that little no sign goes away. And I can cut anywhere. Cut, cut, cut. Oh, yeah, it's terrible. I'll undo that 1, 2, 3 by using Control or Command Z. I want to cut at the current time indicator. So let me roll this thing forward to some place that would be a logical place to cut. I'm moving along here, driving on the bike path, and I think right there we're done. That's where I'm going to cut to get rid of all the stuff at the end. Now I could take my Trim tool, click like that, and trim over like that. That would work just fine. But for the purposes of this exercise, we're going to use the Razor tool. So I'm going to go back and press the C key, and I'm going to put my cursor pretty well near the current time indicator. It doesn't have to be right on top of it, but if you're pretty close, it'll jump to the current time indicator and cut wherever the current time indicator is located. There you go. So I've now cut it. Now, notice if I play this, it won't look like anything's been done to it. It'll play smoothly from one frame to the next. Watch. You cannot tell that something went wrong there, that you sliced your clip in two. That's because it goes from that frame to the next frame with no break. But I do want to get rid of this stuff at the end. So I right-click on it, even with the Razor tool selected. If I right-click, I'm not going to cut it. Right-click on it and say Clear. And now it's gone. I just deleted it. Let's go to the beginning and do the same kind of routine, although we won't say Clear here. We're going to have to do a Ripple Edit. I go along here to the point where I want to start. Let's say I want to start right about there, I'll say. See how long that lasts. They come into the frame. And they go through. That works for me. So I'm going to start right about there. Hover my cursor over there with the Razor tool selected. I get close to the current time indicator. I click. It cuts at the current time indicator. I'm going to get rid of this big chunk of video here. I right-clicking on it. And instead of saying Clear, which would leave a gap, I'm going to say Ripple Delete, which will fill the gap. It'll slide everything over. Everything's all slid over now. We start where we cut it, right there. And we go to the edit point where they go out of frame and into the next frame like so. Very good. I want to cut this thing too, so I'm going to move along to right about there. We'll cut there, so I'll just click that, cut. Right click on this guy now, and instead of doing a Ripple Delete at the beginning or the end, we're going to do Ripple Delete in the middle. Ripple Delete, everybody slides over, and we now have that edit point right there. Okay, we now have our little 5-clip sequence, all kind of trimmed up nice and neat. But now we're going to do things called slipping and sliding. Well, what do they do? Because they sound so similar, right? Well, I think of slipping through the cracks or slipping under something. So I think I'm slipping under, I'm sliding on top of something. I slide over something. So with my slip tool, I'm slipping under the adjacent clips. click on the slip tool, which is the keyboard shortcut Y. If I want to move this clip here, I want to move the beginning and the end. If I click on it and start moving, if you look at the top right-hand corner there, you can see that I'm moving the in and the out point of that clip. I'm not moving the clips next to it. I'm slipping this clip under the adjacent clips, deciding that maybe I should start there on the left-hand side instead of starting farther into the clip like that. I'm slipping it under the clip next to it, if you can see that. If you look at the little number signs there, you can see the actual in and out points, the 39, 40, that kind of thing. But if you look down on the sequence, you'll see how far I'm slipping it left or right. There's a -1 second, 17 frames, so I can go slipping it right, say 2 seconds or so, like that. That's how far I'm slipping it. So I let go now when I, let's say, get right there to that negative sign where I'm kind of toward the beginning of the clip. And now I haven't changed the clips to the left or the right, just the edit point where that clip comes in and goes out. The length of the clip stays the same. I slipped it under the other 2 clips. Let's slide something over now. We're going to click on the slide tool, which is the keyboard shortcut U. I want to slide this thing over. Sliding over means that you're changing the in and the out points of the clips next to it. This clip won't change. You set this thing up, you like exactly the way it is, you don't want to change it. You know, you want to go right from there to the end of the clip. So you want that to stay the same, but you do want to kind of change where it comes in. I think I want to extend the one on the left and shorten the one on the right. So if I just grab it, I start moving it. Notice how the clip in the middle, which is the clip we're working with, doesn't change. Left is the in point, right is the out point. But the clips to the left and the right, the big ones, the ones we're changing the out point on the left, the in point on the right. So let's say we're going to change the out point here on the left, like so. Maybe right there. And the in point on the right means that the clip on the right will be a little longer. However you want to do this. Just decide I want to make the clip on the right a little longer and the clip on the left a little shorter instead of my original thinking. Go. And so we've moved this whole clip over, essentially, without changing the length of the whole sequence. Let's see how that works. From there to there. That didn't change. Same edit points in and out. Now we're making this one a little bit longer. It'll pan over a little bit later than we originally planned. There we go. So that's the razor tool, more frequently called the cut tool. And by golly, it's got a C keyboard shortcut, so you can't forget C equals cut. Then we've got the slip, we're slipping under, and the slide, we're sliding over.